George. And we are live. Welcome to the Killer Be Killed podcast. I'm Damian. This is Josh.
Hey, everybody.
Glad all of you can make it or not make it yet. This is, of course, the most unlistened to podcast on the interwebs. And if you would be so kind to like and subscribe, you'll get notifications when things come out, and that helps with the algorithms and slowly but surely building an audience. So, yeah, there's a couple things I wanted to get into, but first, we were just talking about the training platform, and we were doing these things called Kickstart lessons now, which is for everybody that signs up. You're going to have an opportunity to book a personal, well, it's a training session, but it's more of a consultation orientation session with, how to use the platform, how to use the training, set up, how to set up your first 30 days of, training based on, well, I can't use my shoulder, because, a lot of times you go into these things, you're thinking, oh, I got to do everything. And the reality is, I'm like, if it hurts, don't do that. It's funny. Yeah. My one buddy who just got his shoulder done, he was like, well, the doctor's like, do this. And he goes, and it killed. I'm like, who does that? What are you doing? You don't need to do that. So, yeah. So, I just wanted to share this, just because because this is kind of the position statement on the site. It says, obviously the best defense is a great offense. This is for the Elite Mastery Program. It's the Elite Train for Life. I note this is not just videos. This is a 100% interactive training platform that includes 24/7 expert support and live training. Think of this as your private training center that fits into your schedule, lifestyle, and fitness capabilities for pennies when compared to traditional schools, gyms, and methods. And then, of course, on the bottom, I do this little cutesy farty chart here. But the difference with this, we're comparing this with training once a month with a private lesson. So, you can add a couple. And the reality is, if you're doing this for more than a year or two, from a skills standpoint, you are probably going to be an instructor or instructor level. And I'm not going to tell you to, there's some people that just like training with a personal trainer and a coach, and they do that for years. I've got friends that do it. And that's great too. But the reality is, with the difference between, what we do and what a lot of other places do, because obviously I've only been in, martial arts since I was, 14, 16, actually. Was it 16? I wasn't driving. It's a long time ago. And, it was, you got to sign up, you got to get a black belt. It's going to take you 5 years. BJJ does the same thing that they did back in my karate school. It's like, oh, you got to get a black belt. It's like 8 years, 9, oh, we're not a belt factory. We don't do, it's just all a way to keep you in. The whole concept of a black belt, it's like there's no, the only places that I see where there's a governing body are the sports that are in the Olympics, and I would say judo and taekwondo. I'm sure Kyokushin has their method, but some of the more established martial arts, and perhaps even Aikido. Again, I have no experience in Aikido, but some of the martial arts has been around a while with international organizations that are all fall under the the same group, are most likely to have some type of standardized level for a black belt. BJJ, it's kind of arbitrary. When your coach thinks you're ready, they tell you, which is, as opposed to,
After you've done the minimum amount of years.
Yes. Yeah. Right. It's like, how much money do we get out of this guy? Okay. I think he's going to quit. You should promote him. I mean, that's really, that fact. And look, I mean, that's not exactly how people think, but, as a school owner, I'm looking at dudes, I'm like, hey, man, you want to test? You should probably test. Right. And then some people just don't like to. The thing with a test is that you've got a physical, concrete set of uh, tasks that you have to be proficient at. Right. So these are the skills that I need to know, I need to understand, and then I need to perform them at a certain level. Great. Okay. Let's go. Why do some schools get away? They only test once every 3 months. So you still have to wait. But the way we do it, it's like, if you think you can do it, test. No one's stopping you, right? If you want to rip through this stuff and you're a you've got an aptitude for this. I mean, the one dude that came and trained this one year, dude, Paul Powder, phenomenal, like big, strong, athletic dude, got it, aggressive. I'm like, holy crap, dude, you look like you've been doing this since you're a baby. I mean, really got it, like better than me, if you would. I didn't care. I was like, I was really impressed by it. And everybody should be better than me, in my opinion. If on some level, I've got to be, you've got to be, if you're coaching and training correctly,
you want the people to be better than you.
Yeah, that's it. And besides, I'm not getting any younger. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's like, guys are like, oh, master so-and-so. And the master's like fucking 40. I'm like, yeah, he can kick some ass, but he ain't going to, he ain't competing for an Olympic title. Master stays or past him. Yet you may know a lot, and that's true. So when you talk to people, you're seeking their language, their knowledge, they can articulate it and accelerate your learning process. That's the whole point of any training program, right? Not to make it longer, because it should be, you should get so good at teaching that it should be, okay, this is the system we feel works. This is how we're gonna streamline this, and we're gonna knock 8 months off off of your training. Imagine being in the military, right? And you're like, okay, you got 6 weeks. No, he's gonna need another 8 weeks. It's like, no, it's like, let's just keep him there.
We
No,
just shortened it to 4.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So, I just, the thing of the black belt, and what people just don't understand, is that it's very arbitrary. And yeah, there's like and then what happens is there's more folklore that go around. And not saying that, guys are a black belt, really, it just means for whatever system you're in my opinion, for whatever system you're in at your age and whatever your physical abilities are, you have been able to demonstrate and, a working knowledge of what your system does. So, with a certain level of proficiency, but dude, we've had dudes that were like, not in shape, middle-aged guys that, they're not throwing a jump spinning back kick, dude. They're not doing that. And there's a mindset that you're like, you got to do that. It's like, you're gonna do it. You gotta look like Bruce Lee, dude. And it's like, dude, no one's looking like that. No one's doing that. So, people like hear these things like, oh, it takes so many years to get a black belt. So, it's like, again, completely arbitrary. Completely, you could hang around for several years and actually suck. I mean, it would be very difficult to do something, average of twice a week for an hour after 8 years, and maybe you miss like maybe you miss like a month or two a year. I mean, okay, you're going to have some level of expertise, I should hope.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, one of my Kickstart classes this week, we were talking about doing the testing and stuff, and I was like, because he was like, oh, I can't really afford the testing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, look, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And I was like, and for like 17 years, do you know how many tests I took? And he was like, oh, how many? And I was like, 0, big fat 0.
Right. Right.
I was like, the knowledge is its reward. I was like, the only thing the
Right.
test gets you is a pat on your back that like, hey, you proved that you're proficient to somebody else.
Right. I mean, the way we do it, we do it for instructors is if you're teaching to a certain level, we need to make sure that at least you know what the hell you're talking about.
Right. Yeah,
I
and
mean,
that's
that's
what I
it
told
for,
him. That's what I told him.
know,
I was like when I reached out to Damian, I was like, hey, I'm finally ready to be an instructor. It was like, cool. Now you got to start testing.
yeah,
And I was like, okay.
yeah, but it's like, that's really, like, if you really, but you could like go through, it's like, hey, man, you don't necessarily got to pay for it, but you could just be like, hey, this lesson put me through the test.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, well, but you don't get the certificate unless you pay because we don't make any money on it, guys. That's a reality.
Right.
I'm like,
It's still a business.
It's a freaking business, dude. I gotta, keep the lights on and shit. But you could do it, and train it and just not test for it. But the test
Yeah.
is like $100, so it's not like it's gonna, break the bank. It's like, all right, compared to, and they don't get more progressive as you go up. Like sometimes, like your black belt test is like, like it's like less expensive. And as you get more advanced, a lot of times they just bang you more because, that's the way it was in Taekwondo. Uh, yeah.
Well, the tests get longer. The tests get longer too.
They do get
It's like,
longer, more
all right,
involved.
we,
There's a lot, there's a lot
we
of
needed to
wording.
see everything you did for the last 5 belts all into one. You're
Right.
like, this
Well,
thing's gonna be 5 hours. Like,
I mean, my first black belt was when it was in my brother's school. It was a Taekwondo, but it was more American karate. Like we actually did a Taekwondo. We started training in actual Taekwondo, which does like constant axe kicks. I mean, it's nuts, dude. It's hard. I am not built for it. I am 4x4. I am not these long fucking dudes that got like their waist is here. And they're just like, I'm like, and I'm like, I'm punching them in the nuts. I know. So it's just like, I was more like front kick, reverse punch, back kick, side kick, that kind of crap. And yeah, so that first black belt test, yeah, that was like an hour and 40 minutes. And yeah, and then they made us meditate in a closet for like 3 hours the night before. So we did that. It was funny.
did you feel really enlightened after?
I felt like I went to sleep. I fell asleep. Oh, I mean, I did meditate because I would meditate, but I'm in there for 3 hours. I'm like, okay, what am I doing? So, then of course we did get other instructors that come in, they do a thing, and then everyone goes out to dinner after. It's a big thing. And then for my second degree, it was like one night it was like 2 nights. One night we were like running in the woods for like several miles, and then he was like randomly attacking us.
Oh, it was like ninja training.
Yes. Yeah, I actually
awesome.
participated in this. And then the next day we did like 12 rounds with multiple people like coming in and out, like heavy point sparring.
Yeah.
That was cool. And then we did our some like our forms and then breaking and some other stuff. So like the next day that was like a couple hours. And then for judo, completely different. Judo is like, okay, you go to promotion tournaments. So you've got to beat, so you don't go until you're a brown belt, right? And then that's where it gets kind of like some of the clubs, like my instructor, UNESCO would be like, okay, Damon, yeah, good. You should test. I came in as a brown belt because I got it from Carl. So Carl put me in as a brown belt. I was like, whatever. In reality, I'm like, yeah, I did a little judo before that, um, at Agasawaras for about a year and a half, 2 years. And then I started going down to Cranford. Uh, and yeah, started as black brown belt. Then those work like they have promotion tournaments like twice a year. And then basically you all line up. So you got like, NIKU, EQ, SANKU, whatever, brown belts. So you got, first level, second level, third level. And the first levels go together, second levels go together, third levels go together. And you all line up and you get out. And if you beat three guys in a row, then you automatically get Batsugan. You get your promotion to the next level. So, but what happens is if you come out like you're the new guy coming in, and you tie the other guy, then you stay out and then you keep fighting. So what happened with me is that I went out my first promotion exam, and I tied the first guy. So now I had to stay out. And then then I won 3 more matches. So in reality, I was on the mat for about 25 minutes, like just going nonstop. I came off the mat. Yanni looks at me, he's like, Damian, he's like, how long are you out there? he's like, I look up, like he went out and had lunch and came back, and I'm still fighting. It's like, how long are you out there? I was like, yes, I'd say, like 4 matches. He's like, oh, good job. But it's just like that shit. That night, I was just like, of course, my life, yeah, I've hit like massive exhaustion multiple times where like I had nothing left. That night was weird in particular because I felt like my muscles were just like cramping and shivering. Like it felt like everything was like shutting down. And I remember like lying in bed, sitting there, like with this huge smile on my face because of why that is, right? I'm like, you're there and you're like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I could be having a stroke, right? What the hell do I know? So, yeah, and then it's the same for the other ones, and it was the same for the second degree. So, and then when you get your black belt for your first degree, you have to go do nage no kata, so the kata of throwing, and then they ask you for some choke, submissions and crap like that, or pins, and then that's it. So you do that, and then you get your black belt and that, and then second degree is like more of the same thing. And then I didn't get my third degree, but the third degree is the same thing, but then they add another kata, Katame no kata, I think it is. It's just the ground fighting one. Yeah, and that's it. But at least there's, you have to beat your peers in the area. And there's this, like, hey, you could test as much as you want. You go out and beat all these dudes. Some guys were getting like half point, half promotion because they would win one and then lose one and then come back and try to win another. So they're trying to get the wins together. But yeah, it was like at least I felt that was more standard. There was something happening there. Then I had to perform, the traditional shit and all that, and that's fine. Yeah, that I felt, because now I'm connected. I got certificates from Japan. It's like it was cool. It was like, okay, here I am. My other shit, I was like, okay, here you go. And then this thing with Carl, it's like we put this, system together, and he just promoted me to 4th Dan. It wasn't like we just did a demonstration in front of people, but we put this program together, and he's like, yeah, okay, here you go. I mean, it wasn't like, he's not going to tell you, what are we going to test, right? We built it. So
yeah, he's like, I know we built it. It's like,
right. He's like, you were there. You're doing all this stuff, So it's not like I didn't have any qualifications to do this. So we did. He's like, here's your 4th degree. So it's not like you're like, and then in judo too, after like 3rd degree, the rest of the promotions are like coaching promotions, right? Like okay, like you run a school or you're active in the administration, administration arm of the style, then you get promotions. I mean, there'll be guys who automatically, like if you compete in Olympics and things like that, you automatically, like a lot of kids, especially above a certain age, will get automatically promoted. Um, I think the funniest thing when they promoted Unesca to ninth degree, I'm like, Sensei. I'm like, it put you to ninth degree. He goes, yeah. He's like, that's because they think I'm gonna die soon. It's like that crap.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing when he got his, I think it's your fifth degree black belts, red and white. And Carl told me the story. He's like, Sensei. He's like, because they wanted this instructor to have a red and white belt. He's like, Sensei, you got a red and white belt. That's awesome. He looks at me. He's like, wow, they're girl colors. Like I've never, and this is why I only wear. I've got different colored belts from different shit. I only wear a black belt. That's it. I don't have any. I don't have any stripes on it or anything like that. I got my favorite belt is the one that just says judo and UNESCO on it, and that's it. That's the belt I wear. The other stuff is like for showing. I got like fancy like Jean-Claude Van Damme Bloodsport looking shit. Oh my god, I took my wife down that rabbit hole. The Bloodsport. Do you know anything? You remember the movie, obviously.
Oh yeah. That was a favorite growing up.
Right. So did you ever go down that rabbit hole about Frank Dukes and
a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah, he's a freaking con man. One, because there's because I see these guys all throughout my career, and some I've even worked for, that have completely fabricated their experience, and they were athletic enough to pull it off.
Yeah.
And this is right. So, you have to look like you do something, or you have to have some working knowledge of whatever bullshit martial arts. Back then, it was all death touch and twisty wrist and shit like that. It was like you're coming off of Count Dante, which is a whole other discussion. But, you're looking at, he was, yeah. So, people there's a ton of stuff on YouTube about this, so you can go get your fill. But basically, the story according to Frank Dukes, and I saw this guy at tournaments and crap like that. And he would do appearances or show up wearing some bizarre samurai looking gi, just insanity, right? With sunglasses on, because I think he had something. I think he had a tumor or something that I don't know. There's something wrong with him. So he's the thing with martial arts, if you, and this goes to say with a lot of things, but a lot with martial arts. If I'm hey, Josh, I'm doing this tournament or this demo or this presentation. I want you to come in and, I'm going to introduce you and, you're going to talk about your experience or whatever. And I'm going to build you up and make some outrageous claim, and 99.9% of the time you're going to just be like, yeah, okay, yeah, thanks, whatever. It's this weird, everybody feeds into each other's bullshit, right? You'll see guys that'll promote each other. I mean, my first Taekwondo school had 2 instructors, and one day they're I think we need another rank. They just gave each other ranks because okay, I guess who's to say I bless you, you bless me. It was the whole. They just gave each other ranks. Next thing you know, they got another 2 or 3 stripes on their belts, and I'm like, okay, because
who's going to hold them accountable?
Right. No one, because there's no governing body to any of this crap. So, I could just have kept giving myself ranks in Tekken Room, and be like, hey, honestly, my instructor died. I'm kind of done. It's not like, I don't, but I bet you if I emailed a couple people, I'd get people to promote me. I'd be fine. I'd be 15th degree by now.
Oh, if you emailed somebody and you're like, 12th degree Tekken Ryu Jiu-Jitsu, people would be like, oh, this dude, yeah.
It goes to 12. Past 11, it goes to 12.
It goes to 12.
Yeah, of course it does. So
they'd be like, I don't even know what's to 12.
I'm like, guys, I go, people, like, seriously, like, other than WTA Taekwondo or whatever the hell it is now, USJ or USJF Judo, there's no real one organization that governs all this stuff. There'll be guys that are like, hey, we've got the World Krav Maga organization. Yeah, but there's like 10 World Krav Maga organizations. All of them know a guy in Israel. There's like, dozens of jujitsu and karate and aikido. And you're like, well, I'm Machado Jiu-Jitsu. I'm Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. It's like, fuck, I'm Sharks. You're Jets. And it's like, there's like no governing body for it. It is completely arbitrary. I'm not saying that, like, these guys, people don't work hard. I'm not saying they don't, they aren't proficient at a skill, but I think it's funny. We're like, oh, that's a jiu-jitsu, that's a black belt. No, that guy's really good at what he's doing. Right? I'm like, you can say, I mean, we throw it around, but there's a lot of shit black belts out there.
Oh yeah.
A lot of them. And you're seeing this stuff, and these guys can, like, pose and primp, or they just are just slobs, and they get people to, I mean, the Sistema stuff is like, I don't understand what cult that is. I'm like,
the Russian Sistema.
Yeah, what is going on there, man? It's brutal. Yeah, I can't. It's, guys. If you don't like, if you haven't seen it, I should. Want to talk about this stuff. Obviously, we should have shit cut in, but we're not. Guys, well, hold on. Let me just take a look, because you're gonna have fun with this. Okay, wait, hold on. Let's see. I just want to make sure this is the right one. All right. All right, here we go. All right, good. We're good. Okay. So I don't know who any of these freaking people are.
Are you gonna show us?
Yes, I am. No, I'm gonna just give it to myself, and then.
Okay.
All right, hold on. I just.
You have such a lovely voice. You can just read it all to us.
What I'm looking at: a man in camouflage attacking another man with a stick. So yeah. Okay, so this is Sistema demonstration full speed. There's just music playing on it. So, okay, kids, buckle up. Okay, maybe not. There we go. Okay, I don't know what that demoed. You just get it out of the way, but okay, fine. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that, I guess. He's not attacking him. He's just not getting hit by a stick. There we go.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, neither does he. Yeah, he just literally hit him hit him across the chest. Why does he work? I mean, for that, I don't think he needed the safety. Yeah. Did he punch him?
No, it looks like he elbowed him.
Okay, so he did, like.
Oh, maybe it was a punch.
Maybe
it's like kind of like a whip. It's like a whip punch.
Yeah, there's no, like, when you watch people punch, watch their feet, because if he's not, like, you got to look for hip rotation. You got to look for, if he steps into it. No, that is just an arm punch to the face. And then I don't know. Now he just falls down. Okay, so this is just a front snap kick, and then left hand, right hand. There we go. This is classic. And I'll be honest, like this is like some of the best stuff from this crap I've seen.
Yeah, that's not
You
bad.
know, right? So, but he's getting. I mean, it's just like this whole thing of blocking and moving that around is nonsense. Um, yeah, every strike is just a killer strike. Yeah, because that'll do it to a double leg takedown for sure.
Like none of these strikes are generating hardly any power.
No, and it's not even that you could say he's pulling them, but I'm looking. There's no body weight in them.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like he's obviously
Yeah,
pulling them on top of the fact that he's not generating any power.
right. I mean, this is like the finish is the head grab. That's a clinic. That's a demo move. That's actually the round kick actually happens a lot. Slow mo.
What it kind of reminds me of is Wing Chun.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. The thing is, to think that, and this is the problem with the premise too, to think that you're going to let a guy strike and then you're going to get off multiple strikes in the time that he is striking. Like he's going to be coming at you with a lot of stuff, right? At least trying to run you over. Um, so like this whole I'm gonna block and then I'm gonna do all this crap to you. It just doesn't happen like that. There's like he's closing the distance on you. He's gonna be attacking you, really trying to hit you. You're gonna move farther out of the way, not like these little like grazing things. It's like holy shit, and you're attacking, and even all these like small movements to bring them around. Yeah, okay, we're training these things, but those first shots are, those strikes have got to make, they've got to have some significant weight behind. Um,
You know what that devolves into? The Russian slap fighting.
yes, it does. Oh shoot, and it's brutal. So the one thing I didn't want to talk about, I know I was going to do hate mail, but we could probably do it next time. Is uh, have you seen anything on the shooter that attacked the Catholic school in Minneapolis yesterday?
No, someone told me about it, but I hadn't looked into it yet. So
Yeah.
let's do
All
it.
right.
Let's dive into it.
All right. So I will like first thing I want to recommend for people to let me just show a window. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. All right. So I subscribe to this thing called hold on, let me download images. 1440. It's just what happens in the world, essentially just the facts. All right. There's no like nonsense. It's just really what happens. So
Oh, we got a question here from Ray Cullen. There you
oh
go.
Ray, what's up, man?
Did you see it?
Raja Jackson. You're gonna make me Google Ray? Hold on. It's Quentin Jackson's son. All right. Black Ashore, making 0 point.
Nope, obviously not.
Yeah. Yeah, hold on. If I'm looking. No, we didn't. But okay, because I all right, I'm gonna stop sharing. Now you're just we almost killed the guy. Holy shit. All right. Okay, hold on. No, sorry, I was worried about the the school shooter. Here we go. Okay, frightening Raja Jackson video emerges after vicious attack on wrestler. Okay, Raja. Let me just see if this is this ad. So Roger Jackson's justification for rendering wrestler Stuart Scott unconscious has surfaced on social media. Still infuriated, Jackson was seen walking out of. Oh, it's this.
Hey, where the hell you at? I told you to double leg that motherfucker start welling. I just saw the video.
Pissed me off though, Andre.
I understand that, but now they can't wake the up.
So
in
he
the ring, flatline, bro.
My
You
bad.
didn't have to do all that. I understand y'all had heat. You didn't have to take advantage.
I'll call you back later.
So okay, this looks like that was the call. That was the call after the fact. So infuriated, Jackson was still walking out California arena with his bloodstained white shirt, ranted and why he decided to attack Scott. I'm tired of mother effers playing me with me, bro. Thinks I'm still playing, and Ashton calls me a bitch and shit and effing H, bro. At the end of the day, I'm gonna stand up for myself. Jackson had brought into an independent wrestling show with Scott, who goes. So this, I guess he got a real fight with a professional wrestler. And when things out, Jackson picked him up and threw him to the ground, where his back of his head slammed against a canvas, rendering him unconscious. Okay, then he followed up with a brutal assault where he landed 15 unanswered blows in the face before somebody finally intervened. Post-video assault, since everybody played with him. Okay, because so this is like it wasn't even like it was professional wrestling.
Yeah, it's like they invited him out to, have like an exhibition basically. And,
Yeah.
was probably doing what professional wrestling does. And,
Right.
was having, it's a soap opera. Was probably saying all kinds
Yeah.
of crap. And he took it the wrong way and was like, basically, what I'm getting is like, I'm a real fighter in his mind, right? And he's like, why am I even here
Right.
playing this game? And he just was like, slam, bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, this kid who doesn't know what professional wrestling is, right? He got invited there. He knows a guy, and he's think like, what? And I actually hit the dude.
A lot apparently.
Yeah, I'm like, I just, his head bends off the concrete, and that I'm gonna see if we can find the video of it. Just looking. Hold on. Roger Jackson video. Oh, okay. I think we got it.
Wave goodbye to summer and hello to savings up to 30%
Wave goodbye to
during
summer,
Raymore
people.
Flanagan's Labor Day sale.
Grip, stability, precision. That's the essence of driving. Lawfit.
Okay, we're done. Warning. Everybody. You can see that, Josh?
Yeah. Distressing content.
Okay. Holy shit.
This horrific, hard-to-watch attack has shaken the pro wrestling world.
What the hell's wrong? I think he's mentally challenged. This is like, okay, pro wrestler lets you, they're acting.
He definitely didn't understand it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, is he got a learning disability? Right? I don't know. I mean, right now that guy's out.
And why isn't the ref doing anything?
Well, it's a professional wrestling ref.
I mean, I get it, but he should know the difference. He should know the difference between when it's
into this.
no, but he should know the difference between for his own friend, right? I'm assuming that they're probably friends, right?
They're all
so he should know he should know the difference between his acting and oh crap, this dude's getting pummeled.
He's just beating the crap out of him. And that dude looks like he's a little long in the tooth. Holy crap, man. See if there's any.
Rampage Jackson climbed into the ring during a match in Sun Valley, California, and attacked Psycho Stu. He body slammed the bearded wrestler, then pummeled his face more than 20 times, apparently to the point of unconsciousness. Psycho Stu, whose real name is Stuart Smith, is reportedly doing fine and recovering, but the damage to Raja Jackson's career is done. TMZ reports that cops were called to the scene on August 23rd, and the LAPD has launched a criminal investigation. So what the hell happened? The violent, unplanned attack went down during a private wrestling event at Knox Pro Academy. It was apparently in retaliation to an altercation between the men earlier that day. Outside the venue, Stu had smashed a beer on Raja's head.
What, you don't know me?
Hell no.
Okay, so I'm assuming that this is all staged. Right?
I mean, I would think so.
Yeah, this is like, they're looking, everyone's laughing, I get it.
Yeah.
Hey, I think that's a little.
Yeah, that was an empty. Yeah, this is
It
fake.
seemed to be setting up a storyline for the show. The two
Yeah.
were later seen making amends on the live stream, but then things took a dark turn. And now social media videos have emerged showing Raja in a blood-stained white shirt and visibly seething with rage following the incident.
Pissed me off though, Andre.
I understand that, but now they can't wake the up. He's in the ring. Flatline, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, we saw this. So
It was a misunderstanding. He thought he was a fellow wrestler.
first
Okay.
and foremost, thoughts and prayers out from our brother Stewart's, which was supposed to be planned. Agreed upon wrestling spot turned into a selfish response to activities against Mr. Smith. Huge disaster, reprehensible, should have never occurred in the 17 years operation of Knoxville Wrestling Academy. There's never been anything as heinous as take place as this, and we apologize to our fans and patrons.
Knox Pro condemned Raja's behavior.
So that's Rampage. Okay. I mean, like, of course they got to drag him into it, but
Of course.
yeah, that's insanity. So
Like, why? Man, never. You know what? Let's just move on. there's
Right.
There's no way to really talk like sanity through that because it just doesn't
but
make
it's
sense.
you're looking at this, right? You're like, I'm clearly in a professional wrestling situation. You don't know where.
Like it was talking about how it was already planned. You know,
Right.
so like, why would you then lose your cool and be like, "Oh, this guy's treating me like I'm a joker"? You went to a professional wrestling place. Of
That's
course,
the
it's a
f-
joke.
The shtick, dude.
It's entertainment.
Oh,
It's like
holy crap.
it'd be like being like a Lakers basketball player, and then the Harlem Globetrotters come and you get pissed off because of their antics and you smash them in the face with a basketball.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like-
Why
like,
are
how
spinning
dare
the
you-
ball?
Yeah, it's like, how dare you make fun of my sport? You know what I mean? That's kind of what happened.
Right.
And it's like, you're not taking me
It's like, I think it's for
seriously.
real, right?
Yeah,
Right.
and it's like, no, this is a show.
And by the way, that's what happens when a young, in shape guy picks up a fat, middle-aged guy out of shape and slams him on the ground. Yeah, no shit. Hopefully Stu, like, I don't know, gets his nutrition together or something. I don't know. He's got to, okay, he was streaming on a kick and his followers kept talking shit to him, saying he was a bitch for not doing anything about it. So what Ray's saying is that Jackson's followers were like egging him on, and he's literally paying attention.
Why would you
to it.
let that happen to you? Why haven't you done anything about it? Instead of be like, guys, it's all a show. He
Right.
instead took it seriously.
Or, feed into the heat and get your fans riled up.
Right.
I mean, and
Right.
play along with it. Like, that's right. I'm going to kick his ass. Here I go. And then you go finish the act.
You go do the show. Exactly.
This is someone there's something going on there that's not right, that you don't understand that. And you can't tell. I mean, he got hit in the head. It was an empty beer can. It had a little beer in it for effect, right? It didn't do it. It was a thin.
Pretty sure he hit him.
Time.
I'm pretty sure he hit his own hand too. If you watch where he put his hand, I'm pretty sure he smacked it into his own hand.
Right. Right. So
that's how those things work.
Exactly. There's a definitely emotional something going on with him, because that's not a normal reaction to that at all. The fact that he's probably going to get banned from UFC is a good thing, because he needs some help. He needs to fix that.
Yeah, if he's that unstable, you don't want him in a professional.
Yeah, you can't. He'll hurt somebody. He'll hurt somebody in training. That's really what it comes down to. It's not necessarily like in a ring. It's like, when you're sparring and you're going through all this training, it's not 100%. There's some guys that go harder than others. That's how their camp goes. But in general, even when I'm, if I'm rolling or stuff like that, I'm not going 100%. I'm not trying to, really go for a submission. I'll get a lock in it. Oh, and by the way, if you get me in an armbar or a leg lock or something, I'm gonna tap. I'm not gonna fight you. It's like as soon as you get it, I'll be like, oh, okay, we're good. Good job. That's it. I'm like, because you'll get hurt, and especially with your joints, and now especially getting knocked out. I mean, you only have so many, not so many of those dings in your tank, before you start getting, loopy. So it's something they take very, very serious, and that's also why you see old grapplers and not old strikers, because you're not gonna. Yeah, you're not gonna sit there and be like, okay. You see guys hitting the bag for sure. Maybe they'll go around. They'll spar with the right guys.
Yeah.
But because you're not hitting somebody, I would never, ever hit somebody in the head ever in training, ever. If we're sparring for that, I would throw stuff up, but then you've got gear on, you've got gloves, you want to protect your hands, and you want to protect them from getting concussed. So, and you, by the way, that's why it's, guys pick sparring partners and stuff like, they try to put a good camp together, so they know none of that fuckery is going to go on. And so if you're helping, I was helping guys prepare for the Olympics, it's their show, right? So if you're in there and you think oh, I'm going to throw a guy who's tried out for the Olympics, or I'm going to submit him and I'm going to go for him, I'm like, you're an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because, now.
If you accidentally hurt him, you just ruined everything.
You just ruined everything. You're such an asshole. When I was coaching wrestling, we would have guys that would come in we had one kid. He quit his junior year, after his junior year, didn't wrestle senior year. Came back the next year with his wrestling gear, wanting to work out. And I'm like, absolutely not. It's like, wow. First I go, you quit. I go, second, why are you coming in here? You're not training for something. You're not, you just want to come in here and roll around because you want to see if you still got it. That's a problem. So, you guys, you got to, I would pick dudes guys I know wrestled in college, guys I know who were still competitive and competing. Those are the people that came in and who had nothing to prove, and they just knew that, okay, I'm not going to hurt this kid. Right. That's when I go live with somebody, that's the first thing on my mind. I'm like, okay, I don't want to hurt this person. Because, there's no point in it. This is not why we're here. I mean, in competition, I'll go hard and I'll have an attitude I want to freaking kill you, but I don't want to kill you. I'm just going to go hard. I'm not going to cheat. I'm just going to attack and defend and do what I got to do as hard as I can. And we're going to see who wins. Right.
Yeah. It goes back to that. You understand it's a sport.
You're right. Right. And exactly what it is. But this crap, you should understand it's a sport. That's the problem. He should understand what it is and what he's getting into. And the fact that he basically took advantage of a defenseless human being.
Yeah, because the guy wasn't he was going to the script or whatever, right? He didn't know what was coming.
He let him take him down.
Yeah.
He let him in. Okay, here we go. Let's have fun. slams him down. His head off, hit off the. I mean, crappy fall. I would think a pro wrestler would be able to like take that. I mean, he had him up high, but you don't look that tall.
He probably wasn't expecting the way he threw him down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he drove him down.
Yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't like where they like slam him down like almost flat back, right? This was like a boom right on the upper shoulder's head.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, shitty, but just it reflects an attitude that is just there's no place for that in sport. If if he doesn't get that crap together, he's not gonna make it at all. So, all right. So now where were we? Okay, we'll get back.
No, school shooting or the church shooting.
Church shooting. So yeah, it was like a school at a church. So let's just get with the facts. All right, and that's what you'll see how this A shooter attacked a Catholic school in Minnesota yesterday, killing 2 children, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and wounding 17 other people, most of them children. Authorities say the attacker, 23, Robin Westman, more on that later, died by suicide. Annunciation Catholic School serves children from preschool to 8th grade and has begun its first week of school. Shortly before 8:30 a.m., the assailant fired dozens of rounds through the windows into the church where attendees were gathered for mass. The attack roughly took 2 minutes, according to witnesses. At least 2 doors were barricaded. 3 weapons were discovered at the crime scene: a rifle, shotgun, and a pistol, all of them legally purchased. They have to say this. But it gets better. This is why I like 1440. The shooter, who transitioned from male to female in 2019, had no prior criminal history and was reportedly a former student at the school. Typical. Officials have not publicly identified the motive. Phrases including "kill Donald Trump" were engraved on a rifle magazine. The FBI is investigating the attack as an act of domestic terrorism and a hate crime. Okay. Just the facts. Good stuff. Right? There's like nothing more there. But it gets better. All right. So let me get my first one. Where's the one that I wanted? Did I want that? No. All right. So here's his. I'll pull this up in a second. All right. Pause. Hold on. Work with me, people. I am technologically challenged. Okay, so here's a video of him, of his magazines. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No, it's Russian. Notice more than 10 on the magazine.
I'm the woker, baby. Why so curious? Where's your fucking god now?
So fucking awful.
Shit. Skibbity Riz.
So Jesus Christ.
The big boy. Fucking ripping.
Yeah. So that's yeah.
Definitely
that's a
somebody
video.
mentally stable right there.
Yeah. Now here's where it gets, and this is where it gets, so okay. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Here. So this is the frickin' police chief. So if you haven't seen Minneapolis Has Fallen on YouTube, I highly recommend it. One of my good buddies' brothers on it. It's about the George Floyd riots and what happened and how they railroaded the cops. I mean, it's like incredible. Like the chief, the mayor, all these people are just sold these guys up the down the river for literally doing their job and what they're trained for. Seriously, and they didn't. That could be a whole other thing, but yeah, watch it. So now here you have someone who is trans. This is like the fifth or sixth one. I gotta bit on it. I gotta clip on that in a little bit. You saw the magazines, right? They're like, oh, they're not. If this guy were they would only get the story right if this was a white Christian dude in a MAGA hat, period. So yeah.
So right now we don't have a clear motive to establish for why he did this at the church today.
Clear motive? I mean, besides being insane, watch it. It's funny because there's all this magazines underneath. I'm like, all right.
We're obviously open to every possibility. And we're hopeful that once we are able to go through the scene, all of the evidence that's collected, that we'll be able to better provide answers for our community.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain amount of, as a public official, there's a certain amount of like shit you can and can't say, right? So I give that guy, that amount. I mean, just like, look, you probably might have mentioned like, hey, we've seen the video, we've seen the book. We're going through it to see if there's any, it's obvious that there was something going on with what we saw. I get it that you don't want to make a statement right away. I mean, no motive. I mean, well, first of all, what's the motive of an insane person? Right.
Whatever they come up with.
Right. Exactly. So now you've got. See if this is the one. Okay, no, this is the DC. Triggers and sick for look, praising colleagues. Let's see. No, not this one. Okay. I gotta get rid of that. I showed that. Delete. Okay. Well, no, that's it. Nope. So, anyway, what's happening is that people are coming out and they're saying, oh, we support the trans community. We support this. This is not a reflection on them. I mean, there is no trans community. So, whatever the hell that is. What they're not dealing with is that this kid was seeing, first of all, he's got two parents, right? So they didn't notice the shit ton of weapons that he's amassing. We didn't have a shit ton, only like a few guns, but they're not noticing the ammo, weapons, and magazines that he's putting together. Okay, maybe not. They're not noticing what's on his bed. They're not noticing. I mean, someone's gonna they've given like so much leeway for fucked up behavior, if you will, that it's like, oh, well, he's just being him. That's just what he's into, and they're not really parenting or paying attention. One. Two is this guy has been he's on medication. He's seen multiple doctors and psychiatrists throughout his life. He's being treated. My problem is all of these kids, I think there's like 5 or 6 that were all seeing mental health professionals. If you can't spot a mass murderer, what good is what you're doing? Is my question. What good is your profession? Don't get me wrong. When we lost our second baby, Angela and I saw somebody, gave us some good skills to kind of help communicate. That was fine. That worked, but that's it. That lasted like a couple months. And then, we're kind of done. And we would have been fine either way, but it was just kind of nice to talk about stuff and okay, fine. But if you can't see a mass murderer, what are you talking about? This guy is obviously obsessed with what's going on in the world. He's obsessed that he was born into the wrong body. He's obsessed that, people are bullying him, and he hates where he went to school and the church and Jews and Spicks and all the other stuff that he put all over the place. He hates all this stuff. Not one person treating him figured it out.
Yeah, so it comes back to, everybody was like, we need more gun laws. We need more gun laws. But we have the gun laws already in place. Like, that's what red flag laws are for, right?
Right.
At any point in time, one of these professionals could have been like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and red flag this dude until, at least until we figure out where he's actually at,
If a kid is demonstrating violent fantasies, the first question you should ask the parents, are there any guns in the home? Are there any weapons? Because, he's 23, but he's living at home. And I understand it's weird. You'll see this. Once your kid is 18, doesn't matter who's paying for college, they talk to them. They don't talk to you. So it's like you're footing the bill, but if this kid is, I don't know, he's 23. Is he living at home? Is he living with his parents? I have no idea what, I don't know. Right. But if he is if he is somebody who's got violent fantasies and it's like, look, what point do you get law enforcement involved? Yeah. But I got a patient, this is where it gets dicey because gun people will go nuts over this. But if I have a patient with, he's got suicidal fantasies and homicidal fantasies, and, I need to do a wellness check at his home and see if he's got firearms. Is that what happens?
Yeah, again, I don't know, right? But
yeah, me neither. Yeah, so Travis puts, if the child's being treated for mental illness, they should automatically be flagged, and parents need to take some responsibility, knowing these facts while they're living at home. Yeah, child is relative here.
Right. Yeah, I mean, all right. It goes back to the professional saying, like, I'm treating this person. They're definitely unstable, right? They're not quote unquote normal. Maybe we should flag them, right? The flags can be removed, but in the middle of treatment, you should probably flag them.
Yeah, and you have to understand the living situation, right? So if you're living on your own, you're a 23-year-old kid, young man working, you can buy guns, you can do stuff, you do all this stuff. You're like, this is who you are. You're on your own. I'm like, you can do whatever you want. So there's got to be a mechanism in place where it's like, where are you living? Okay, so we're gonna send over a social worker with a cop, right? And we're gonna just have them search your premises and make sure your guns are gonna be locked up until if we want to really prevent this stuff. But
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, so I think a few weeks ago we talked about that one guy who was a serial killer who, like, the doctor person couldn't, like, his professor couldn't, like, didn't notice it, right? He was a criminal justice major or whatever, and it's like, okay, we have a guy now who by all accounts and outward appearances is quote unquote normal, right? Has never had psychological sessions, no criminal record, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, yeah, how are you going to stop that, right? The dude keeps it all inside his brain because he knows if I keep it inside my brain, then, nobody's going to know, right?
Yeah.
And then he just
And
does
Travis,
it, right? You can't stop that.
right. And Travis brings up another point. Yeah, these mental illnesses don't go away. They're not supposed to. And the meds only treat the problem temporarily, but they want people on these to manage their life. Yeah, they want them to have constant medication because that's how the physician makes an extra money, makes her money. I mean, they're getting for that prescription, they're getting a residual. They're getting commission on the sale. So they'll sit there and they'll get you through all your freaking medication. The reality is, look, there are definitely some people who are wired wrong. There are definitely, but what's insane is that most of this stuff, and this is scientifically proven. Yeah, exactly. Therefore, okay, yeah. So
Yeah, but I mean, so the point I was getting at, Travis. Yeah, so the point I was getting at, Travis, is like, what if somebody just has a severe bout of depression, or what if they're working through a little bit of PTSD or whatever, right? Something that can actually be treated. They could still be flagged during that period, right? Because they could still be a risk during that period, but they could eventually come out of it and be like, yeah, no, I'm good now. And the flag come off, right? Obviously, if the person's like psychopathic or sociopathic or whatever, yeah, that flag's not ever going to come off, right?
Right.
But to say just because you go to a psychologist for any reason or psychiatrist for any reason, you should get flagged and that flag never gets removed. That's crazy.
Yeah, because you can get on the you could get put on a no-fly list and then be like, get off the no-fly list. So yeah, there has to be a way to go in and out, and the psychiatrist's going to have to prove their case too.
Right, right, and that's where their professionalism and expertise comes in, right?
Right. And it's got to, I would imagine it would have to be reviewed, but it won't. And the reality is no psychiatrist is going to turn their patient in because what happens? I get fired as a psychiatrist. It's like, what, you're going to still keep seeing me after I take your guns away and have the police come to your house? No, man, you probably kiss that patient goodbye. So they want to keep treating them. They want to keep him in. They want to keep them, addicted and hooked in. And they're going to keep writing the prescription. They're going to keep seeing them every Tuesday at 3. And they're going to keep going and going. And let's work through that. Let's stop there today. Good work today. I like the work you did, Josh. Good work today. I think we made great strides. Yeah, I'm making great strides down to my old school, and I'm going to shoot that freaking place up. So, I keep with this whole freaking, with the whole mental wellness and crap like that, such a bunch of shit. Right. The idea that, they're selling these kids first. I mean, they're weaponizing these poor kids. I mean, that's really what's happening. You want to get your tinfoil hat on?
Yeah, get yours.
All right. So it's very easy to take these kids on the fringe and to continually pump them up with all this rhetoric about how the other side hates you. They're coming to kill you. I literally had grown people, kids that were gay, thinking that once Trump got into office, they were going to round them up and start putting them in trains. They thought that all the you see these grown-ups were like, they're at like a council meeting and they're screaming about Trump and how it's going to turn into, they're going to round us up and bring us this concentration camps.
It was even happening at the high school right here down the road from me in Texas, where, when he got elected, like teachers and students in the hallways crying because they think their lives are now over.
Right. So now you have this poor soul whose parents, and by the way, when you go to your doctor, when you go to your school therapist, you're like, I think I'm a woman. And they're not like, oh, do you want to talk about that? Like, oh, okay, you're a woman. That's it. Maybe there's a little back and forth, but for the most part, you're automatically okay. You can go to a doctor and get, double mastectomy or.
If anything, it's like, oh, excellent. Yeah. What do you want to be called? How do we do this? You know what I mean? And it's like, let's push it forward, you know?
Oh, and we're not going to tell your parents. So there's that. I mean, so you're taking this poor poor, confused kid, which, yeah, we get confused. We're human beings. We're trying to figure it out. You know, everyone's like, oh, she was suicidal. I'm like, who hasn't thought of like killing themselves when they were like a teenager? I'll show them.
I didn't.
Not like ever got it. Well, not like ever got around to doing it, but if you're mad and you're like, imagine if I I don't know, you know, like I'll just drive off a cliff, man. You know, or something. Show her. You know, yeah, dude, like it happens. You know, I wasn't doing it, but you know, I just, you know, it just these thoughts come in and out. People are not as stable as other people, and some people aren't as sure. And then you've got parents that are probably putting it into their brain because they see you do something maybe a little effeminate or masculine. I'm like, oh, look, he's a, you know, it's like, I don't know, you know, they're building these poor kids and then they're putting them out there. Now it's like you got hate Trump, you've got a person who's unstable, and then a person who thinks they're threatened and in danger, and a person who thinks that the establishment is in the church or whatever is I'm going to go to the place where I can do the most damage, and then I'm going to freaking end my life because I want it to mean something and I want the world to notice. You know, that's what this is. A lot of this is about, is like just getting attention. It's easy, Josh, right? If it's hard to be the star on the girls volleyball team as a girl. You know, it's hard to be an athlete. It's hard to be a straight A student. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of dedication. It's easy to be a hero if all you're doing is saying, I'm a woman or I'm a girl, you know, and then people are like, you go girl, you show them, that's right. You're so blessed and you're, you know, you're strong and all this stuff. You'll get strangers going nuts for you because you're whatever, you changed your name and you tucked, right? So now you have these kids that are looking for attention that are, and then dude, it's like, you know, you've got so many things. You got Trump, you got gun laws, you've got, you know, churches, you've got the establishment, you've got, you know, you've got so much that these kids don't need too much nudging to go do this. They're right there. And all the time you've got people all around them like, you're not mentally ill, Josh. You're fine. They don't understand you. They don't get you. They don't feel your pain.
Well, and then, you know, on top of that, you got the radicalization process, you know, where you have mayors and, you know, other leading figures literally going out and saying, you should kill them. You should kill them. You should kill them.
Right. I mean, when you compare someone to Hitler, you know, who doesn't want, you know, yeah, that's Hitler. I'm not killing a human being. I'm killing the devil. Right. I'm killing, you know, when I see that red hat, oh, you're a demon. You know, you want to hurt me. You want to, so I'm justified in using physical use of force to stop you from doing that because you're already a rapist and a racist, and I'm justified to do that. And this is what we get. And all this talk, none of it is falling back on the mental health industry and the pharmaceutical industry, and they should all be ashamed of themselves because this is what they're doing, this is what they're missing. If you can't pick out a mass murderer, you suck. Your profession sucks. If I go to a doctor and I'm riddled with cancer and he can't tell me I have cancer, he sucks. Right? I mean, okay, it could be a podiatrist, but still, it sucks. Sorry, it's a joke, people. So, you know, I'm like, you can't tell me that, you know, if you, I know, I hear the answers. Well, we can't really tell if somebody's violent or not, or blah. Like, if they're talking about it, yeah.
Right. Thoughts lead to words, which lead to actions.
Right. You know, let me see your journal. You see that kid's journal. He's got, like, you know, the school, the church laid out. He's got all kinds of crazy crap in there. So it's easy to weaponize these kids because now, it's somehow okay. That he's in this protected class with these whack jobs that it's, you're trans, you are, the only thing better is if you were a minority trans. That's like the top of the heap. Gay man is almost straight now. It's like, why bother? I've got friends that are gay that are like wealthy, and I'm like, you are one of us. Sorry. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. You're one of us. They don't care. No, you're not even. You do not. You check one box. Doesn't help.
Yeah, just one.
So yeah. On that note, I said the psychiatry. These guys are not held accountable. I think we talked about it last week, where they're just like, the fact is that all these people on medication. Look, if everyone who didn't, try to. I mean, we had one guy, Timothy McVeigh, that blew up a building that wasn't Muslim. Everyone else, it's blowing up shit, shooting up stuff. A lot of them are, guys. So, what's happening with, the trans, LGBTQ, they're buying guns and they're doing something. So what are we doing to help these people? Because they're still going to get them. And, you keep stripping them away from the people who actually want to protect themselves. So it's crazy. I don't know. Anyway, so you are having a Dungeons and Dragons Monday.
Yeah, I am.
Sounds
awesome. It's gonna be sweet. Yeah, it's gonna be sweet.
Now, who's a dungeon master?
My buddy is. Yeah.
Okay. So how many guys?
So he's a new dungeon master, and so it's his family plus me because I've been doing it forever. And so I'm kind of there to keep things on track and help him out and stuff like that.
What level? What are you? What's your character?
This character I'm playing is a Storm Aura Barbarian who's blind. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What level?
I think we just made level 3. We're not far along.
In the beginning,
yeah.
I played a little bit. In middle school. All my buddies on football team, and our one geeky friend who's our dungeon master. We don't play it. We play after school a bunch of times. I'm like, yeah, and he always cheat for us. I'll be like, kill it. He'd be like, hey, look, you probably roll a 1. It's like, oh yeah, direct hit, good job.
Yeah.
You're cheating at Dungeons and Dragons. So
I did the same thing. I did the same thing in the military, as people are like, well, what do you like to do? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, I like D&D. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And then there's one other dude who's like, I also like D&D. And we're like, well, we should play, And then everybody else is like, is it fun? Is it fun? It's like, is it fun? And it's like, well, come on, try, right? And next thing you know, you got the whole squad in there playing.
Yeah, it's freaking great, dude. Oh my God, we had a blast. It was fun. So he's talking, when I worked for a mental health program, we did Pathfinder as a social skills group and critical thinking group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it builds social skills and critical thinking. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Travis, awesome. Ray, thank you for participating. You will get production credits in the comments. Please, guys, again, like and subscribe. If you want to see anything, just post a comment. If you want us to talk about anything, whatever, send over a video. Let us know. Remember, there's a free we got free everyday carry class. We got free training underneath for a free self-defense masterclass. We're doing live training at myselfdefensetraining.com. Just if you haven't already, take advantage of the free stuff. We got Bodyguard. I think we got a Labor Day weekend promotion that just kicked off today. So there's that. And so everybody enjoy the long weekend. We will see you next week. Until next time, train honestly.